In Irish mythology, the Tuatha de Danann acquired four magical treasures from four mystical island cities before arriving in Ireland. Rather than simply gifting them to each other, the beings and teachers in these cities gave them to the Tuatha de Danann to bestow the essential virtues needed to establish thriving, just, and victorious society. In Irish myths and legends, the Tuatha de Danann had four treasures that they received from four mythical cities, and those treasures were used to rule, choose kings. They were symbols of abundance, symbols of prosperity, and hospitality. The four gifts are known as the four treasures of the Tuatha de Danann, brought to Ireland from four mythical cities. They include the Sword of Noda, the Leafwell, the Stone of Destiny, the Spear of Lugh, and the Cauldron of the Dagda. When looking at this culture and these beliefs as, modern physics, let's say, and we're looking at electricity, right? We're looking at atmospheric occurrences of electricity, and we're also looking at telluric, right? Like things that happen in the ground. So what's interesting is these four treasures that they were given fit nicely into an electrical circuit. These magical artifacts, which represent the four elements and four cities of their origin, include the Sword of Light, the Cleave Solace, brought from the city of Phineas, wielded by the Tuatha de Danann king Nuada. It was said to be unconquerable and would leave no one who was struck by it to survive. The Leafwell, the Stone of Destiny. Brought from the cities of Fialis, the Stone of Sovereignty was located on the hill of Tara and would roar out and cry when a rightful king of Ireland stood upon it. There's the Spear of Lugh, which is the Spear of Light. Hold on, I have it written down. I have it written down so that I don't make any mistakes, right? The Ga Sail. And it always hits its mark and is returned to his hand when he throws it. The Spear of Lugh, the Gwa Asail, procured from the city of Gorius, wielded by the sun god Lugh. It was incredibly deadly, never missed its target, and eventually had to be kept in water to prevent it from overheating. The Cauldron of the Dagda, brought from the city of Murius. This magical vessel was bottomless and ensured that no company would ever leave its table hungry or unsatisfied. These treasures are deeply embedded in the Irish folklore and are often compared to the Four Hollows of Arthurian legend. We've got a spear. We've got the Sword of Light, or the Sword of Nuada, the Cleave Solace, and it's a recurring theme in Irish mythology, these swords that could light up, these swords that had magical powers. This one shone with a bright, radiant silver light that could slice through any enemy. A bright, radiant silver light. The major myths and battles surrounding these four treasures were centered on the First and Second Battle of Magtura, where the Tuatha de Danann used them to win sovereignty over Ireland. Sword of Nuada, the First Battle of Magtura. The First Battle of Magtura, Nagda wielded the Sword of Light against the Fir Bolg, the existing rulers of Ireland. During this brutal battle, Nuada lost his arm to the Fir Bolg champion, Shriek, rendering him temporarily unfit to be king due to his physical imperfection. The loss of sovereignty. Nuada had to step down, leading to the disastrous reign of the tyrant King Bress. Nuada was later fitted with a working silver arm by the healer Dien Sect, regaining his crown and his deadly blade. The Spear of Lugh, the Second Battle of Moytura. The Second Battle of Moytura. This war was fought between the Tuatha de Danann and the monstrous Fomorians. The Spear of Lugh was the deciding weapon of the war. Slaying Balor, the Eye of Evil. Balor, the Fomorian leader, possessed a giant destructive eye that decimated entire armies when opened. Before Balor could unleash its gaze, the sun god Lugh used his unstoppable spear to strike Balor directly through the eye, killing him instantly and shattering the Fomorian army. All right, and then we have the Leafal, which is the Leafal, which is the Stone of Destiny, right? And the Stone of Destiny gets pretty weird too because it would emit a loud sound whenever the rightful king would stand upon it, right? And it was the coronation stone for Irish high kings until at least 500 AD. But what's weird about it is that it was moved in 1820. It used to be presumably thought to be in the front of the Hill of Hostages, which is the Neolithic cairn, the passage tomb that is on the Hill of Tara, but they moved it to the spot where it is to honor Irishmen who fought and died in the rebellion of 1798. So if you moved it over in front of the entrance to the hill, mound of hostages, suddenly what we're going to talk about next makes a lot more sense. The Leafal, the myth of the High Kings, the crowning of the Khan of the 100 Battles. According to legend, the High King Khan stepped on the Stone of Destiny at the Hill of Tara, causing it to scream so loudly that it was heard all across Ireland. A phantom of the god Lu then appeared to prophesy the length of Khan's reign and the names of the kings who would follow him. The myth of its capture. While the original stone is said to remain at Tara, a popular medieval legend claims that it was on loan to Scotland. It became the famous Stone of Scone, which is still used today in British coronation ceremonies. Right? And then there was the cauldron of the Dagda, the Cuira Ansig, the Cuira Ansig, or the undry, right? And it was a symbol of hospitality and endless abundance. It was said that no company would ever go unfed, like near it, right? And it was perpetually full. It would fill up enough to feed any gathering, armies, right? Any celebration. It was this miraculously constantly full symbol of abundance, symbol of being fed, right? The cauldron of the Dagda, the feast of the Moitura, sustaining the army. Unlike the other three weapons of war, the cauldron of the Dagda played a vital psychological and logistical role. It provided endless food for the Tuatha de Danann forces during the Megtura Wars, ensuring that they never grew weak from hunger. The trickery of the Fomorians. Before the second battle, the Fomorians tried to humiliate Dagda by filling a giant pit with porridge, meat, and fat, forcing him to eat it all under penalty of death. Because of his legendary cauldron-fueled appetite, the Dagda ate every bite and still managed to outwit them on the battlefield the following day. So there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. Before we talk about anything else, I want to say safety first. I was struggling with how to present this information because it's a lot of information. And so I'm only giving you a little bit of it right now, and we will do it in segments, right? Because it's heavy, it's a lot. But when we look at these components, these treasures as components to an electrical circuit, you've basically got everything that you need. The four mythological treasures provide an excellent conceptual framework for the four fundamental components of an electric circuit: the voltage source, the conductor, the load, and the switch. By mapping their magical attributes to physical laws, they perfectly illustrate how a circuit initiates, carries, consumes, and controls electrical energy. The four components of a basic electric circuit are a power source, right, to push the electrical energy, right? And then you have a conductive pathway to carry that current, and then a load to consume the energy. And then typically you'd have a switch to turn it on and off. A power source. A basic electric current requires four fundamental elements to function: a power source to push the electrical energy, a conductive pathway to carry the current, a load to consume the energy, and typically a switch to control the flow. The power source, voltage source, provides electrical energy, voltage, needed to push current through the loop. Examples include batteries, solar cells, or electrical generators. The conductor, the pathway that connects all the components and allows the electricity to flow continuously. These are typically copper or aluminum wires. A circuit connection is like your light in your house is turned on, right? You turn your lamp on, you flip that switch in your lamp, and it connects, completing the circuit and allowing the current to flow through all of the way. The load, resistor. the device that consumes the electrical energy and converts it into another useful form of work, such as light, heat, or motion. Common examples are light bulbs, motors, or heating elements. The switch, a control element used to open or close a circuit. Closing the switch completes the loop so electricity flows, while opening it breaks the pathway safely to stop the current. For electrons to travel, all four components must form an uninterrupted, closed path. So these treasures fit nicely into an electric circuit. The cauldron of the Dagda, the voltage source, the battery. The concept. The cauldron is infinite, bottomless, and provides continuous sustenance to the entire camp without ever running empty. The circuit connection. This is exactly how a voltage source or a battery functions in a circuit. It acts like a primary energy reservoir, providing continuous electromotive force, measured in volts. It pushes the electric charge through the loop, ensuring the circuit never starves for energy as long as the connection remains intact. The sword of the Tuatha, the conductor wire, the concept. Once drawn from its sheath, the sword of light creates an unbroken, irresistible path of energy that nothing can escape or withstand. The circuit connection. The sword represents a conductor, typically copper wiring. A good conductor offers virtually zero resistance, allowing electrical current to flow freely and safely along the designed path. Like the glowing edge of the sword, the wire forms a precise physical track that guides the energetic flow of electrons. The spear of Lu, the circuit load, resistor, or light bulb. The concept. The spear is a weapon of intense, fiery energy that glows white hot, radiates heat, and requires water to cool it down so it does not destroy its surroundings. The circuit connection. This perfectly matches the circuit load, such as a resistor, heating element, or incandescent light bulb. When the current passes through the load, electrical energy is converted into light and thermal energy via joule heating. Just like Lu's spear, a resistor forces the energy to manifest as heat and light, requiring proper thermal management so the component does not burn out. The Liafal, stone of destiny, the circuit switch. The concept? The stone remains completely silent and inert until a specific condition is met. A true king stands on it, causing it to scream out and close a metaphorical gap between prophecy and reality. The circuit connection. The stone acts as a switch. In an open circuit, the switch is silent and no current flows because the path is broken. When the correct condition is applied, the switch is flipped or closed. It completes the circuit loop. This triggers a sudden, immediate cry of electric current rushing through the entire system. And given what we've already looked at with the Druids and the lightning, what we've talked about with the Druidic Holy Grail and the telluric currents, solar currents, and lunar currents, given what we've found with the Ogham alphabet and how well it translates into like sine waves. It translates into math that would calculate things like this. And they even have specific letters for specific things like the phi function, right? Like 1.161, the golden ratio. It's in there. So why would they have all of that? What would they be doing with it? There has to be some practical application. That's where we're going next, right? What are all these things used for? And now we're building an electric circuit based on these treasures that were needed and necessary to rule Ireland. What are we going to do next?